One day I'll get to deliver you good Xbox news, but today is not that day. It has been a very weird week in gaming. Not only has the Counter-Strike skins market crashed through the floor because of some changes that Valve made, but also Xbox has announced that Halo is coming to PS5. Words I never thought I would be saying. So what I want to do is just read through a few articles with you and we'll discuss what's been going on and I'll share my thoughts on it, because I'm going to be honest with you, I am absolutely dying. Last night, Rise Above Cancer held another fundraising gig in Swansea and it was absolutely incredible. My heart is so full of love right now for my friends and that scene and everything that Rise Above Cancer do. If you want to find out more about it, just check out the links down below and get involved. Honestly, it was an incredible night and I am so happy, but I am so tired right now. But with all that said, let's crack open a cold one and get into it.
I don't like this rock.
Scene transition there. So yeah, this is the new style I want to be doing going forward. I think I might mention this before. I've got like a new cam in front of me. So I want to be using that for filming like this sort of reactionary content that I'll be doing. And then obviously the other setup for the more sort of normal talking point content. But for this one, especially for how I feel today, this is going to be the one. So we're going to be looking at an article from Esports News, which is Counter-Strike skins market loses $2 billion of value overnight after knife trade up update. So for those of you that have no idea what any of the words that just came out of my mouth mean, on Counter-Strike, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, online first-person shooter game and has been for many years, it is the godfather of online FPS in my eyes. It is the creme de la creme. It was peak esports at one point. There are cosmetic skins that players can unlock in the game, and you usually get them through like loot crates, where it's essentially a huge gambling market for it, where you'd open a loot crate and you'd have a chance of getting a skin for a weapon in it. And you didn't have to use those skins, you could just sell them and you'd get Steam points for them, or Steam credit I should say for them, it's not points they use, but you get Steam credit for it, which you could then use on things in other games, or you could buy other games with it, you know, it was pretty cool for that. There was also a lot of like third-party sites where you could sell skins, which was very against the terms and conditions. There was also like gambling stuff for it. There was a whole load of like shady things that would happen with skins, and yeah, there was a demand for it, and the knife skins were the rarest ones to find. They were like some stupidly low percentage pulls of getting them. But what happened is that one night, Valve just, without warning, said, hey, cool, you can now trade up and get knives from that. So essentially, if you now have 5 of the red skins, which are still rare to get, but not as rare as knives, you could then trade them up for a knife. And people were having thousands and thousands of dollars wiped off of their accounts. Not actually off their accounts, but in stocks and shares, but it's not real stocks and shares, if you know what I mean. So let's have a look at the article and just go through it. So the article goes over why it crashed the market, and it says here the odds. So the odds of getting a knife or glove skin from a crate was 1 in 385. That's very low, considering that these crates are things that aren't super common to get. Like, you can get a lot of them, but they're not cheap if you buy them separately, and drops of them are usually reserved for like special events, for example. Like, I had a few from a lot of like the old ESL matches that I used to watch online on Twitch. I get like a load of drops from it, and I've got a bunch of like old skins there that are just sat in my inventory that I have no idea what they're worth now. The last time I checked was a couple of weeks ago, and one of them was worth like 24 quid, which for me was just bizarre that someone would pay that for one of my gun skins. But hey, like, you know, if people out there want to buy them, then they can buy them, which is pretty cool. Like I said, like, people have lost lots of money on this because people were hoarding skins and waiting for them to become like super valuable, even though some of them were worth thousands of dollars already. Like, I'd hate to think how much things like Dragon Lore Orps were and how much some of the Karambit knives have been, because now the knives anyway aren't worth that value, which is crazy. It's just crazy. But a lot of people have been taken back by this because it came without warning for a lot of people. Well, everyone, essentially. There were a few shady things that people noticed, but aside from the handful of shady things, most people had no idea what the hell was going on, and these knives now are worth a fifth of what they were worth before. I didn't even know you could get glove skins. Like, I've been out of the game for so long now, but I just think, like, it's, in my eyes, it's a good thing, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for that off people because of people who have lost money on it. But it's not saying it's a good thing that people have lost money. I think it's a good thing that these things are more attainable for players now, because beforehand it seemed like it was only reserved for those that were whales of the game, or like, and what I mean by that is people who were pumping money into it, because you had to get keys to unlock these loot crates, and the keys weren't cheap, and it was just, it all added up, and it was essentially enabling gambling in a game like this. And I'm not a fan of anything like that where young people can have that like thrust upon them, so to say. So yeah, it's a tough one, because I never want to see anyone like lose a lot of money, but at the same time, like, these skins never had any sort of rules and regulations around them, much like normal stocks and shares do. These are like NFTs, but in a really weird way. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's good that more people can get these skins now and have the game looking the way that they are, and not have to go through these gambling sites, and not have to go through like third-party sites to try and buy these skins with real money. Overall, it might be a hot take, but yeah, I think it's a win for the game and the community as a whole. If you were hoarding skins, it sucks for you, and genuinely, like, I hope that, all jokes aside, there were people out there that had lost a lot of money on it, but that was never real money in the first place, because it was all, in theory, unless you were going to break all the TOSs involved with it, it was all like Steam credit that you had anyway. So now we're going to get onto the Xbox stuff, and this is the interesting stuff, because there's a couple of reasons I want to go over this. One of them is there's been a lot of news going on lately about the future of Xbox and where it sits in terms of the console itself, like what's going to happen next for it, what are they actually going to be doing with hardware, and also what is happening with them as a games division. Because myself and a lot of others are under the impression that the end is nigh for it. And I don't mean that in like some pessimistic way. Like, there are actual like numbers that we're looking at here which can go, cool, this is weird. Like, it's very weird that they're doing this, and it's very weird that Microsoft are pushing the division in this way. We're looking at Engadget here, because I can't afford a Bloomberg subscription. And the title of this article is "Microsoft reportedly orders its Xbox division to boost profits to an unrealistic level. A target of 30% profit. A target of 30% profit margins was introduced in 2023." And he goes on to talk about the layoffs that have been happening, and like what the long-term future is of the company, and how, you know, this has been a very weird year for Xbox. If you look back on my channel, you can see that there are multiple times since April, when I started making videos, where I have talked about changes with Xbox, be that with layoffs, be that with Game Pass increases, be that with console increases for the second time. I've only been doing this for like 6 months, and I've already reported twice on Xbox prices going up. 3 times if you count Game Pass. That's ridiculous. That's not good. So, paragraph here I want to look at is this one. So, sources told Bloomberg that in 2023, Microsoft implemented an across-the-board goal of 30% profit margins, which the report says Microsoft calls accountability margins internally. As Bloomberg Straight & Shire reports, this target, which was set by Microsoft's Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood in fall 2023, is well above the recent industry average of 17 to 22%, quoted by S&P Global Market Intelligence. Shire adds that Xbox's own average in the last 6 years is between 10 and 20%. S&P Global analyst Neil Barber told Bloomberg that Microsoft's 30% target is the kind of margin usually reserved for a publisher that is really nailing it. This is despite the game division only landing at 12% in the first 9 months of 2023, as quoted in the report. Microsoft wants something from their gaming division, which is not only unrealistic, but it's based on numbers which history shows aren't there for them. They're nowhere near that 30%. They're nowhere near the 22%. I mean, what was the height that they got to was they've been between 10 and 20% in the last 6 years. So they're not even at 22%. It's averaging below the 17, which is like the industry like low end average. So yeah, they want to pull out these numbers which aren't there. And it's a really confusing time, because I never want to see a company sabotage itself, because not only is it a company that, I've got a lot of history of Microsoft, not only from like the Windows computer background of it, but like games consoles and all that stuff. But there's people involved, like people have jobs there, people have a livelihood to maintain. And it's really weird that the company is tasking them to get these numbers, which are completely, well, by the looks of it anyway, unattainable. Especially because of rising costs of everything. Gaming is becoming more and more of a luxury. And the fact that you want numbers which are unrealistic, even at the best of times, to come out at a time where everything is even more uncertain than ever, it just shows poor foresight in my eyes. What's also interesting to note is that in this paragraph here, it states the new profit targets were introduced in the same year that Microsoft finally completed its $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, landing at hugely popular franchises such as Call of Duty and Diablo. Back in 2020, it acquired ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, which means that long-running series like Elder Scrolls and Fallout now also sit under the umbrella of Xbox Gaming Division. That is a lot of money that they have spent. And if you remember, when they were buying out Activision Blizzard, they always said that they weren't going to increase the prices on, Game Pass and all these other things, and it wasn't going to have this impact on them. Methinks you lied a little bit there, because there's been nothing but increases since you bought them. I'm not sure what planet they were on when they thought, hey, we're going to stop selling Call of Duty on Xbox and expecting to hit the numbers that we're hitting, because all of our Games Pass subscribers are now going to get it included in that at the same price. So even when the price kicks in that it goes up to like $30 a month for Game Pass, that's still not the cost of Call of Duty. So by putting Call of Duty into Game Pass, they have effectively sabotaged themselves and cut themselves out of loads of money. Like, I don't understand it, because I'm not one saying that they should charge the earth for these things, but if you want to make money on something, don't give it away for free. Like, don't include it in something which is already like running essentially at a loss for what these games are valued at. I think it's a really weird move. And I think it was really weird to think that they weren't going to lose money on it. Because I'd love to see the figures of how many people came over from PlayStation and said, I'll just get COD on Xbox now then. Because I played the multiplayer on Xbox, but I didn't buy it on PlayStation in the first place. The last one that I bought on PlayStation was Modern Warfare 2. And I'll never buy a Call of Duty again because of what happened with that. Because I think we bought the Vault Edition and it was really not worth it. Like, it was sold as something incredible and it really wasn't. Never really played the multiplayer with the boys, and yeah, I just didn't enjoy that experience. So I play Black Ops 6 on my Xbox on Game Pass, and that was it. Like, I played to unlock skins and unlock weapons, and that was pretty much what I played it for. I haven't actually touched single player. I couldn't tell you what happened in the single player in that game. I never will. So yeah, I'd love to know how many people actually switched over though. The last paragraph is also something I want to talk about here, which is Xbox has been successful in bringing over some of its first party games to other platforms, including its primary rival in Sony's PS5, with major titles such as Forza Horizon 5 and Indiana Jones The Great Circle making the jump in the last 12 months. In the wake of Xbox rising price of Xbox consoles in the US in the last month, the second time it has done so in 2025, it also slapped Game Pass Ultimate with a 50% subscription fee hike at the start of October, and this week the company increased the cost of Xbox dev kits by $500. I know that the heads of Xbox, and you have to forgive me if the names escape me right now, but like I said, I am running on fumes, have said that like exclusive games like are a thing of the past and they shouldn't happen. But they do still happen, and they do still work really well. Look at games like Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, God of War, like all these games that are coming out for PlayStation by PlayStation companies and by PlayStation studios that do so well on PlayStation platforms. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why these games do well, and there's a reason why people have a calling for these games, because they push the envelope and they give people a great experience. There's one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is something which I never thought I'd be uttering to you folks, but that is that from the PlayStation blog, Halo Campaign Evolved launches on PS5 in 2026. I never thought I would see this logo here And this logo here, you can't see my cursor, but I'm circling the PlayStation logo in the top left and then the Halo logo in the middle. I never thought I would see those on the same page, in the same article, on the same platform. It is wild that that's coming over. Now, it is the single-player campaign, but it is coming with 2-player split-screen co-op and 4-player online co-op, which does beg the question as to how some of those original maps will play with 4 players in them, because from what I recall, it wasn't originally designed for a 4-player co-op. There's also a few mechanics in there which weren't normal, like the sprint mechanic, and apparently like the melee mechanic isn't the same thing as it used to be. We'll have to wait and see. I have heard from sources, by that I mean I watched Actman on Twitter and he had said that it was a bit rough around the edges when he played it. So yeah, I take Actman's word on Halo because he's such a big Halo fan. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because there's not really much else to say other than that, because Halo's campaign is coming. There's no word of a multiplayer just yet in terms of like a, PvP stuff, but I'm sure that is only around the corner. Now this is done with Unreal, so it will look a little bit different. I don't know if it's just been slapped in, like the 2 engines being like mashed together or whatever, but the fact that Halo is coming over to PlayStation, I think we can safely say that the console wars are over. And I hate using that term because it is just like a cringe fest of, console wars. Like I grew up with actual console wars of Sony and Nintendo and Sega, Atari, all going at each other. Like the Atari Jaguar ads, the Sega does what Nintendo don't ads, like things like that were just hilarious, but also like it really did like cement like a rivalry in you. But now I'm an adult, I have adult money, I can do, I mean I have no money, but I can do what I want with that little money that I do have. And I think console wars was just a really weird thing that we've all sort of gotten, I hope we've all gotten past. But yeah, we made it through the war, boys. We are going home to see our families. It's crazy. It's bizarre. I thought it was Photoshop when I first saw it. I saw it on Twitter in the morning when I woke up yesterday. And I thought someone's Photoshopped this into the PlayStation app. I opened the app, searched for it, and it was there. And wow. Just wow. I never thought I would be seeing Master Chief on the same platform as Kratos. Now, granted, they're on PC, but PC's a different beast completely. I mean, like home console platform. I can remember I had a work experience job in a supermarket near me when I was a kid. And I can remember one day going to Game Station and seeing a copy of Halo on PC there. I didn't have an Xbox, so I had to wait for it to come out on PC. And I picked it up. I think I paid £16 for it because I got it a couple of years after it originally came out. And I had a blast with it. And that was like one of my first forays into online multiplayer games as well, because I got into playing the multiplayer online for that. And I started playing Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. I was playing them both at the same time type of thing. And then I got into Counter-Strike, and here I am talking to you folks today. So yeah, Halo is a special place in my heart. I haven't got like the same nostalgia for it as a lot of people do, but I can still really enjoy it. And I still hope that this is good. I will be playing it. I will probably play it on PS5. I am still shocked that this is happening. Like, do not get it. Wild. Absolutely wild.